Hey guys, so here we're gonna talk about sad moments in video games. A video that man was tough to put together. A lot of sad moments just kind of overwhelmed me. But I just want to warn you guys, it's gonna be spoilers. I talk about endings to certain games, all kind of stuff. So if you're one of those guys who gets triggered by that, you might want to turn away. Anyway, let's take a look. The first Suikoden game is definitely an RPG that most can get into. The game is around, I say, 10 or 11 hours long, so it's kind of like maybe a beginning RPG for folks. So this game takes place in the Scarlet Moon Empire, and the Scarlet Moon Empire is at a war with the Liberation Army, which is you. Your leader, Odessa, is going around the country searching for recruits to help with the army, but there's a certain scene where she's trying to save a child from being injured, and by doing so, she risks her own life. The sad thing about this scene is that, if people find out that she dies, the movement will die with her. As hard as the scene is to watch, you kind of understand what she's saying. She's telling you that you have to keep her death a secret, and she wants you to throw her body in the river so nobody finds out that she's dead. So during the game, you take her role, but you keep her death a secret. People are thinking that what you achieve in the game is her doing. Now, this scene is like almost within like the first 3 hours of the game, so it really hits you. You're like, wow, dude, like you already lost somebody. It's insane, and she's a good character to use too. But I was just shocked that she was gone. But I knew it was too good to be true because her stats were pretty high. But the first Suikoden game, characters can die, so just keep that in mind. I mean, most of them will die. Some of them can die during certain bad decisions, one-on-one fights. Some can just die in battle, and that'll be it for them. But it's just a game. It's like a roller coaster of emotions. Even with saying that, you guys will enjoy this game, even with its short length. It's definitely a great beginner RPG, and the story is really deep. Barry's death, Resident Evil. If you decide to not wait for Barry when he gives you the rope in the mansion, this scene will occur later in the game.
Hi, Jill. It's you.
Barry?
I'm really embarrassed to see you now. Just leave me. Go quickly.
It's over, Barry. Wesker's dead.
Is that so? Jill, will you do me a favor? This is my last wish. Please give this photo to my family. Will you?
Sure.
Forgive me, Jill. My God!
What happened?
If you abandon Barry in the underground tunnel, this scene will happen.
I'm really embarrassed. I was clumsy.
Oh, you don't have to talk. I'm going to give you first aid.
Maybe my time's come. Jill, take this.
Barry's death scene in the underground tunnel. If you refuse to go with them and help him out, this scene will happen.
From the start, if you can forgive me, could you please give this to my family? And if you can, please try to protect them.
What do you mean by that, Barry? Don't give up.
Jill, Be careful of that guy. Please. Stay alive.
I know Resident Evil, the first game, is known for its bad voice acting, but if these scenes didn't move you, you got no soul. Grandia is a coming-of-age story. It stars a boy named Justin and his friend Sue going on adventures. Now, these kids are pretty young. Justin's actually 14 years old, and Sue is around 8 years old. They befriend a lot of people on their journey. There's Gadwin, the swordsman, there's Fina, and a couple more friends that help you out during the game. But for one part, maybe halfway through the game, Sue gets really sick, and she collapses from exhaustion. The thing about Sue's character is she is very stubborn when it comes to what she wants. And it's not in a bad way or anything. It's just that she wants to stay with Justin on this adventure, but eventually she realizes that she can't keep up and she has to go home. The sad part is that she tries to hide it from everybody and tries to stay like she doesn't care. But towards the time when she's about to leave, she breaks down. It's a sad scene seeing her, you lose her character, but it's a happy scene at the same time, seeing her go back home. It was a very dramatic scene, and I remember seeing it, I was like, man, maybe my eyes watered just a little bit. I don't know. I don't really remember, but I just remember like, man, that was a touching scene. Very well played out, and it's one of the scenes I remember the most from Grandia. Grandia is a game where you will lose characters like you won't expect it. Like characters will just decide to leave or do whatever. It's one of the first games that I played that actually did that. So I didn't know what to expect when you get further in the game. Most games you get your characters, they stick with you for the majority of the game, but Grandia is just not one of those games. I have to pretty much say the Grandia series is like that. But Sue, definitely out of all the Grandia games, her departure hits you the hardest. It's just really sad seeing her go. And though her character doesn't really power up like everybody else, it's like, man, the characters really come to light in the Grandia game, especially when they have sit downs and breaks and stuff like that. The characters really talk between each other. So it's just really sad to see her go. But hey, at least she's going to a good place. Dreamfall chapters. It's actually a miracle this game exists. This is the third game from the Longest Journey series. The Longest Journey came out on the PC, and that was a point-and-click adventure. Then there was a sequel, a Dreamfall, The Longest Journey, the second game in the series. More of an adventure game, and that game had a cliffhanger ending. And now we have Dreamfall chapters. Thankfully, this game came out because we were back in the day, we thought this game wasn't going to happen because the company just wasn't having it because the last game didn't sell well. But thankfully it was kickstarted and it's here. So what this game really does, it really concludes the story, which is nice. Any questions you had from the other games, at least I would say most questions are finally answered and resolved. So you want to know what makes this game sad? Well, it's really not any special moment in the game. I would honestly say it's the epilogue. The epilogue pretty much takes place years later, and some of your characters have passed on, and it's just kind of sad. There's one character that remains, and she's kind of remembering everybody. She goes around her little house and looks at pictures and just kind of reminisces. It's a really sad moment because everything is coming into full circle. I had a hard time going through the scene. It's really sad. It's finally coming to an end, and it really connects all the games together. A lot of games today don't really do that. They always leave questions, certain questions that need answering, and it lingers. I like a game that really tells you how it is, and this game does that. You find out what happens to everybody. They've moved on. They've had children. It's just an amazing feeling. I had a great time with this series, and over the years I played it. I was kind of nervous that this third game wouldn't come out, but luckily it's here. And this next scene coming up, you'll understand when I'm talking about how everything comes into full circle. If you don't understand it, that's fine. I'm pretty sure someone will explain it in the comments below. But it just, like I said, everything comes into full closure.
Welcome, April Ryan.
All right, you know I had to add a Tales game on here. And there are two sad Tales games I know about, but I had to go with Tales of Berseria. Tales of Berseria is actually one of the darker out of the Tales game. It actually tells us a dark story. Now, you play the game as Velvet, and she's trying to protect her little brother, Laphicet. And it's the sad part is he gets sacrificed. You know, he ends up getting killed. And she tries to save him, but she ends up being cursed. Now, this pretty much happens within the first 20 minutes of the game, so it starts off like on a roller coaster. I think the creator of the Tales game wanted to do something different with the story in this one, and I think he achieved it. You know, a darker tone. It just kind of switches things up. In the other Tales games, there's conflicts going on, but nothing that's really like, I don't know, really a big deal in a way of thinking about it. I don't know, like something that really grabs you like this. You know, a sister trying to protect her brother. You can definitely feel for that. You know what I mean? Trying to protect the loved one. Good news is, though, it also plays like a Tales game, so you don't have to worry about that. All the tropes are here, you know, the special moves and all that good stuff, combo system, all the talking dialogue between characters, still here. So with a game full of sorrow, I'm pretty sure you're like, what moment can I be talking about that's really sad in this game? Well, it's tough. It's tough to kind of express this thing, but it's like it's kind of like asking you guys, what do you think of it? I thought it was sad. Some people thought it was happy. Basically, towards the end of the game, in order for Velvet to kind of be with her brother and somewhat save him, they kind of have to devour each other. She's Daemon and he's a Nominat, and basically they end up in a dreamlike state where they dream, and you know, this bugs me because in their dream it's like an eternal dream, but in their dream they're meeting all their friends, they're living happy lives, and I don't know. I just think it's sad because it's not a reality, but maybe in a way it is a reality. I honestly really don't know, you know, and this ending just kind of left me just really sad, you know. Have you ever went to sleep, you had a really good dream, you know, and you're like, oh, I won some money or I found a rare game, and you're like, wait a minute, something's wrong, and then you wake up, you have like this really sad feeling, you know, and I feel like, you know, like if they ever wake up from that, it's going to be horrible for them because they lived a lifetime in a dream, and now they're, oh God, it's just, I know it sounds confusing, guys, but I just thought it was sad, you know. Dreams are not reality, but then again, I guess they are. I mean, I don't know. This ending just really bugged me and made me sad, you know. All their friends went on to live happy lives and do whatever they did, but they're stuck in that just forever, in that dreamlike state, and until they wake up one day, I guess. And pretty much at the end of the game, it shows their life inside of the inside of the dream, how their friends are there, and how happier times happen, no one died, stuff like that. But anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments, and maybe I'll have another way of thinking about it. And next we have Suikoden 2. Suikoden 2, fantastic game. I mean, it blows the first game out of the water. An emotional roller coaster. Just a lot of cool things happen with this game. The battle system, the dialogue, the graphics, the music, just everything really fits in this game. The story stars two friends. There's Joey and the other character who is nameless. I think he has a name in like a comic book or something like that, but I just named him Reggie, so so it wouldn't be confusing. Beginning of the game, though, you have to jump off a cliff because you're being pursued by some people who betrayed you. And to survive, that is the only exit you could take. And they take an oath on top of that hill before they jump that they'll meet there again someday, if they ever get separated. A lot of crazy stuff happens in this game. I mean, there's a lot of moments that are pretty sad, but I would honestly say that if you meet certain requirements in the game, there's a part where you can actually meet your friend again, and you meet him at the same spot, and you just kind of go over what's happened throughout the game, regrets, happiness, stuff that just happened between each other. He'll challenge you to a one-on-one battle. Now, you could fight him and beat him, or you could not fight him. Now, this other ending only occurs if you have 108 stars of destiny. That's all the people you need to recruit in the game. Some come automatically, some come by special means, special requirements that you have to do to get them. Now, we're going with the ending where you don't get all the stars of destiny. Most people who play through this game probably didn't get everybody the first playthrough. So, depending on your decisions, this will happen. Joey will collapse, and he'll ask you to take his ruin from him. He used a lot of power during one of the battles, and it's weakened his body. So it's kind of, basically it's draining his soul. So he's pretty much dying a miserable death. And basically you have to take his power from him to kind of like to give him release. And it's just really sad seeing him like Joey. Joey is a flawed character, but he's a good character. It's just kind of sad seeing him go, even though he's an enemy in the game. Now, he's not always your enemy. He just makes a decision, and he actually accidentally becomes your enemy. Like I said, it's just kind of sad seeing him give up the power, and he talks to you about your life and what he wants you to do and live your life. It's just kind of like heartfelt, and he's like, wow, man. It's like it's a sad ending, but at the same time, it's a strong ending as well. But yeah, that's Joey for you. Most people today, when they think of Rule of Rose, they think of the rarest PS2 game, and they want to own it just for that reason. But for someone like me, I bought this game back in the day when it first came out. I was actually one of the people who was hoping that it was going to get ported to America. Luckily, it did. I believe they announced it at E3 2005 or 2006. It was like silently announced by Atlas. But finally got the game, and I'm just going to say right off the bat, the game is survival horror, but the only downfall about this game is the gameplay when it comes to like hit detection and stuff like that. Like you fight a boss or any kind of enemy, the hit detection is like really out of whack. So I recommend if you're going to play this game and enjoy it the first time, probably get the Game Shark and activate the gun so it'll be more playable. But other than that, Rule of Rose really starts off on Jennifer. She's an orphan, was an orphan, and it goes off her fragmented memories. Now, with most of these type of old school survival horror games, most of the story is going to be fleshed out through notes, cinematics as well, of course, but you might not understand it, but notes are mainly of how you kind of flesh out the story of what's happening. My sad moment in this game comes during the epilogue. It's pretty much you go back to the past where you play as a young Jennifer. She goes around and remembers like certain spots where the kids used to play or draw at. And it's just really sad because, like she only starts to remember them, how they used to be towards the end. And you just go around visiting all the spots where the children used to hang out at. A tragedy happened where the children were murdered by a crazy neighbor. And he came in and shot the children, and only Jennifer was the only one that survived. You're probably thinking like, well, what happened to the adults? Why weren't they protecting the kids? Well, the adults happened to abandon the children, so they were all living in this orphanage by themselves, surviving. I don't know, man. It's just really sad thinking about it like that. You know what I mean? This probably really happened somewhere. Not kids getting shot in an orphanage, but just an orphanage being abandoned. It's just really sad. Yeah, so there's Rule of Rose for you. I'm happy that I went through this game, despite its flaws. It had a good story to it. The way the story ends, it is sad, but at the same time, at least there was one survivor. Gosh, when it comes to kids, man, you just do not want to see anything like this, man. It's like I have zero tolerance for this type of stuff. It was actually hard for me to go back and play through this game again, because of how I feel. And saying that, though, the good thing about this game is that when you go through the epilogue, most of it is you remembering the good times of what happened during the orphanage. Alright guys, so that was my saddest games. This video is going to be longer, but I guess I'm just going to save the rest of the games for a part 2. So if you enjoyed this video, lucky you. But anyways guys, I want to thank everybody who stayed and watched all the way through, and I will see you guys later.